Half a month has passed since the collapse of the bridge on the Xi'an section of the Tofu Expressway in Shaanxi. The CCP claimed that the latest confirmed death toll was 38, with another 24 people missing. The relevant news once again triggered public criticism of shoddy construction. This is a major national traffic project that affects many people, but the construction quality is poor. The project is plagued by embezzlement, and the managers are indifferent and corrupt, only interested in raking in public money. As a result, when the accident happened, it caused great damage to many people's lives. On Friday, August 2, the Shaanxi city authorities in Shaanxi reported on the July 19 highway bridge collapse in Zhishui County, stating that as of 6 p.m. that day, 25 cars had been confirmed to have fallen into the river, 38 people had been killed, and 24 people were missing. On July 19, heavy rains in Zhishui County triggered mountain torrents. At about 8:40 that night, the bridge on the Tofu Expressway in Zhishui County collapsed. At the time of the incident, vehicles passing through the section failed to detect the danger in time in the dark, and one after another fell from the broken bridge into the river and were washed away by the flood. The day after the incident, the local authorities reported to the public that a total of 25 vehicles had fallen, 12 people had died, and 31 people were missing. The latest report shows that the death toll and the number of missing persons have increased by 19. The Chinese Communist Party officials attributed the cause of the accident to heavy rain and mountain torrents. However, the outside world questioned why this highway bridge, which had been in use for only 6 years, collapsed when other bridges and sections of roads near the accident site also suffered heavy rain and floods but did not collapse. In the final analysis, it is still a problem of engineering quality. Under the relevant reports of the mainland media, some Chinese netizens left messages saying that so much time has passed, and the 24 missing people can basically be regarded as dead, which means that at least 62 people died in this bridge collapse. A netizen in Nanchang City posted 2 angry emojis in a row and asked, "Did Baidu use black and white photos to mourn?" A netizen in Nanjing City then replied, "Hamas is his father, not the victims of the bridge collapse." A Shanghai netizen commented, "It will be forgotten in 2 days, as if it never happened." Another netizen replied, "A sigh." China's alarming tofu drag construction. Building speed is terrible.
Under the CCP's regime, substandard construction practices, known as tofu drag, are widespread in China. This term describes buildings constructed with poor workmanship, resulting in low quality or even total structural failure. Online footage captured a piece of marble falling from a building in Tianjin. Fortunately, there were no injuries. In the Chinese real estate market, most houses, particularly those built after 2015, are of poor quality. Many citizens have paid exorbitant prices for substandard homes. The notion of these houses lasting 70 years is almost laughable. It would be astonishing if they endured that long. In reality, significant renovations will likely be necessary after just 30 years, and some issues may be irreparable. This grim outlook is well-founded. China's infrastructure, in general, suffers from poor quality. A devastating house collapse in Wenzhou resulted in the tragic deaths of 4 people, with some desperately fleeing as the structure crumbled. In Zhanghai District, Jiangmen, Guangdong, a house near a bustling market also collapsed, adding to the region's alarming trend of structural failures. In Tianjin, a gas explosion led to the collapse of a building within a community. The extent of the destruction from a single gas explosion raises serious concerns about the construction quality and safety of these homes. Since the turn of the millennium, the skyrocketing real estate prices have turned the market into a hotbed for exorbitant profits. Unfortunately, the lengthy construction timelines of 2 to 3 years have magnified the industry's flaws, making it challenging to maintain quality control in the rush to attract buyers. Eager property owners, lured by the promise of quick deeds, often compromise on standards and end up with subpar units. As prices soared to unprecedented heights, developers began prioritizing profit margins over construction standards. Exploiting market dynamics, these profit-driven entities deliberately ignored defects, confident that flaws would go unnoticed during resales. This unscrupulous approach left unsuspecting buyers at the mercy of developers who knew that dissatisfied customers had little leverage, especially when issues seemed minor. The real estate landscape thus became rife with compromised integrity, with buyers navigating a perilous terrain where their concerns were systematically disregarded. In China, collapsing buildings are unfortunately not uncommon. For instance, the slope protection of Xi'an community in Sichuan collapsed, causing severe damage to the building. The quality of China's buildings and infrastructure is so poor that even rain can lead to collapses, highlighting the dire state of construction standards in the country. On May 27, 2024, one unit of a building in a neighborhood in Anhui province collapsed, killing at least 4 people. One Nesson stated, "The quality of the building won't last long enough to finish the mortgage." Another lamented, "This one collapsed today, and the other will collapse tomorrow. I've spent nearly all of my life savings to buy a home under the CCP's rule. People spend so much money on homes, but the quality is so poor." Dramatic online footage reveals the collapse of a building in Anhui province, where the top-floor balcony of a house suddenly crumbled, releasing a cloud of smoke. This incident occurred on the evening of June 11, 2024, following a heavy downpour. The exterior wall of a 30-story building fell off, damaging vehicles parked on the street below. The fact that only rain caused such damage raises serious concerns about the building's construction quality. On May 29, 2024, a user commented on X, describing these incidents as tofu dreg projects, terms used for corruption-driven constructions under criminal syndicates, which are premeditated and executed without fear of repercussions. Nissan posted a video showing a man on a rooftop, capturing the moment when the external wall of a building detached, clearly showcasing the poor construction quality. Back in February 2021, a neighborhood under construction in Beijing faced similar issues, including leaking roofs and cracked walls. The cement on the walls was so weak that it could be crushed by hand. A video showed a resident, suspecting poor quality, using a tool resembling a screwdriver to dig through the roof. Shockingly, it turned out there was no cement, only dirt. These incidents highlight the rampant issues of substandard construction practices and corruption, raising alarms about the safety and durability of buildings in China. A citizen recorded an incident where a building's surface was blown off by the wind and crashed directly onto the sidewalk. On November 23, 2023, a residential building in Anhui province suddenly lost its exterior wall. The veneer fell to the ground, causing pedestrians to scream in fear. The local neighborhood committee casually stated that the property management company had been informed. On the afternoon of April 27, 2024, another residential building developed a large crack from top to bottom, causing one side to tilt. Witnesses reported that the crack started at 10 cm and quickly expanded to a meter, accompanied by a strong smell of gas. The footage reveals the sound of the building cracking and pieces of the staircase falling. People screamed in terror, with one person asking, "Is it collapsing?" The scene was chaotic, and someone urgently shouted, "Get out!" The following day, the local government issued a report on the incident, confirming that the building was cracked and tilted. They described the entire structure as dangerously tilted but mentioned that residents had been evacuated and resettled more than half a year ago, in August 2022. The cracked building was vacant and slated for demolition. Mainland Chinese media personality, Teacher Wang Daily, questioned why the building wasn't reinforced or demolished earlier, given its known danger. "Leaving it standing is like leaving a ticking bomb," he argued. Even though the building is empty, adjacent buildings are still occupied, putting other residents at risk. The cracks are rapidly growing, indicating that the building continues to tilt. If it collapses, the consequences will be dire. Due to ongoing complaints from the building's owners about its poor quality, local officials decided to inspect the situation. However, during their visit, they found themselves trapped in the elevator, sparking fear and embarrassment. Residents exclaimed, "Heaven knows," as the officials were stranded. Homeowners on site sarcastically asked, "Are you scared?" The elevator stopped. "Can you get out?" others added. "Don't move." Some even suggested, "Maybe there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine." One remarked, "Thank goodness the divine is looking after us," implying the officials finally experienced the building's notorious problems firsthand. In another alarming video, homeowners tested the quality of their new homes. One person easily removed two door frames by hand, revealing they were made of styrofoam. A woman commented that the frames weren't as sturdy as Lego. Towards the end of the video, a man stomped on the floor, causing it to shift. The question arose, who would dare to live in such a place? How long can such substandard buildings last? The prevalence of tofu dreg construction in China is both widespread and deeply concerning. Over a decade ago, the Xi'an earthquake brought this issue to light. On May 12, 2008, at 2:28 p.m., a devastating 8.2 magnitude earthquake struck Wuchan County in Sichuan province. According to China's Ministry of Civil Affairs, 69,420 people lost their lives. However, the Bashu Alliance, a Chinese civil organization, estimated the actual death toll to be around 300,000, including over 30,000 students, many of whom were young children in kindergarten. The local school buildings were suspected to be tofu dreg projects. Despite Premier Mr. W.G. Ba's demand for a thorough investigation into these substandard constructions, no significant action has been taken. Let's revisit the tragic events of the earthquake. Footage shows students frantically running down the stairs, attempting to escape, as the school building collapsed in an instant. The devastation was immediate and heartbreaking. At the time, mainland Chinese media reported that the cement in the rubble was so loose that people could break the pre-made concrete slabs into any shape, almost like cookies. The rebar was equally weak, with some slabs containing only 3 tiny bars that could be broken with minimal force. On May 12, 2024, more than 100 parents who had lost their children in the earthquake went to the site to mourn, but local police blocked their entry. The CCP authorities have continually denied responsibility for the tofu dreg construction linked to the disaster. No cemetery has been established for the children who perished, and for years, parents have been prevented from visiting the site to mourn. One parent mentioned that after the earthquake, the CCP encouraged bereaved parents to have another child, promising to cover the education and medical expenses for the second child, as well as the parents' medical expenses. 16 years later, these promises remain unfulfilled. The real-life footage of the WN earthquake is deeply shocking, and the collapse of tofu dreg buildings across China is alarming. On June 8, 2024, a user on X platform posted a screenshot of a conversation between a professional and a friend about the issue of China's tofu dreg buildings. The friend asked, "Why do Chinese homes have a property right of 70 years, but an actual service life of less than 50 years?" The professional explained that cement takes at least 28 days to reach 80% strength. However, in China, floors are built in just 7 days, disturbing the cement before it sets and creating tiny cracks. This weakens the bond between the cement and the reinforcement, making it difficult to check because the flaws are internal. The normal construction process should allow 15 days for drying and 28 days after pouring the concrete, meaning it takes 43 days to build a floor. Consequently, constructing a 30-story building should take at least 48 to 60 months, or about 4 to 5 years. However, in reality, buildings in China are often completed in less than 2 years, leading to what are known as rotten-tailed buildings. Expecting these buildings to last 70 to 100 years is unrealistic and highlights the severe construction issues in China. These revelations underscore the catastrophic potential of poor construction practices in China, suggesting that in 50 years, high-rise ruins could litter the landscape. This commentary, posted in Radio Free Asia under the title China Specialty: The Endless Tofu Dreg Projects, delves into the shady secrets and interests behind these projects. Blogger Le Changpeng noted that asking for the truth is futile because everyone already knows it. The government's bizarre lies cover up the reality, much like with the tofu dreg school buildings in the WN earthquake. Every new project births billionaires, while completed projects leave a trail of exploited workers. The era's legacy is not truth, but the creative ways the truth is concealed. The dire consequences of poor construction in China are beyond alarming. In 50 years, the country could be littered with the ruins of high-rise buildings. This thought alone is chilling. A commentary in Radio Free Asia, titled China Specialty: The Endless Tofu Dreg Projects, questions how many shady secrets and interests are hidden in these tofu dreg projects. Blogger Le Chang Pang insightfully noted, "Everyone knows the truth, but the more you know, the more the government will bury it under bizarre lies." Just like with the tofu dreg school buildings and the Huainan earthquake, the truth and the lives of thousands of children are forever buried in the rubble, he went on to say. Every new project births more billionaires, and every completed project leaves behind a legacy of exploited workers. The era's greatest legacy isn't the truth, but the creativity in hiding it. They tell the lies, and the people turn them into folklore. Chinese commentator Yan Dan added, "The Chinese Communist government has always targeted democratic systems, restricted freedom, and tarnished traditional values. Their claims of putting people first are hollow, they only seek power and profit." CCP officials, driven by greed, exploit national tragedies without hesitation. China's justice system, overseen by the executive authorities, shields minor officials with the protection of their superiors, making them unaccountable to the people. With power backing them, they exploit citizens without remorse. Many believe jerry-building is why state projects have degraded into tofu dregs. In ancient China, despite corrupt officials, the imperial family and government left behind grand architecture that lasted centuries. In stark contrast, the CCP's reign has spawned unparalleled corruption, fostering a culture where poor construction like tofu dreg projects flourishes. These insights paint a stark picture of the systemic corruption and its catastrophic impact on construction quality in China.